Brookvale Oval in Sydney. It's the Manly Sea Eagles and the Cronulla Sharks.
And both clubs winners in round one as we welcome you to Brookvale Oval for this Battle of the Beaches. Today's instalment coming from the northern beaches, Brookvale Oval, this ground at which the Sea Eagles have had so much success over the past 39 seasons against the Sharks. In fact, the Sharks have won just 4 games here. They'll be looking to improve on that record here today, but they are missing a couple of their stars in their halfback Brett Kimmorley and also front rower Danny Nutley, who was so good last week against the Penrith Panthers. They have a reshuffled lineup as a consequence. Russell Aitken is the halfback today. Adam Dykes was listed to play at halfback. He will start at 5'8". Greg Bird moves to the lock forward position. Sam Icemonger comes off the bench. He'll play in the second row. And now Galloway, Williams and Sullivan is that bench. Of course, their coach is Stuart Raper. I'm joined by Laurie Daly. They were very impressive last week. Their kicking game was good, and Adam Dykes also. His ball distribution and running at the line was first class.
Well, they had plenty of options in attack last weekend with Kimmorley and Adam Dykes returning to the Sharks. But of course, there's no Brett Kimmorley. A lot of pressure on young Aiken here this afternoon. The one thing that the Sharks did well last weekend was slow the play the ball down of the Penrith team. They really defended very well.
And for the Manly side, this is their lineup. It's the same 17 that was named earlier in the week. An injury note to Jason King off the back of the game against the Warriors last week means Chad Randall comes into the 17. Anthony Watmoe started off the bench last week. He will be in the run on 13 today. Luke Williamson, Shane Dunley, Sam Harris and Kylie Lulawai is the bench as the Sharks leave their room to come out onto Brookvale Oval. Let out today by their captain, David Peachey, who has been asked by his coach, Stuart Raper, to step up and take that leadership role in the absence of Brett Kimmorley. But, of course, another man, a very experienced man, is Nigel Vungana, who has scored so many tries in stints at the Warriors and also the Bulldogs before becoming a Shark. And, of course, he'll be a key player today, Greg Alexander.
Oh, look, he certainly will. Had plenty of touches of the football last week. He ran for 115 metres, scored a great try running off an Adam Dykes pass. And with no Brett Kimmorley, the Sharks centre has to keep his involvement in the game high, not just as a support player, but someone who instigates the attack for the Sharks.
And the Sea Eagles are about to hit their home turf for the first time in 2005. Michael Monaghan leads them out. We saw that heavily strapped thigh of Terry Hill as he took the field. And, of course, there'll be a lot of interest in a couple of their big off-season signings in this game today. The locals get their first look in the maroon and white of Ben Kennedy.
Great last weekend for the Sea Eagles. Ben Kennedy, an outstanding back rower. Represented Australia, New South Wales, and they'd be looking for Kennedy to continue that type of form. Last weekend against the Warriors, played 54 minutes, made 85 metres. He is one of the best back rowers, and he's a tackle breaker when he runs the football. He's aggressive, and watch him to be heavily involved here this afternoon.
Our referee today is Paul Simpkins. He'll blow time on. It will be the Sharks to kick us off. Luke Cavell gets us underway. Manly will defend the southern end of Brookvale. It wasn't a deep kickoff, and Michael Monaghan was set upon straight away by Phil Bailey and Matt Hilda. Watmoe was at his running best, this nuggety second rower against the Warriors last week. Stopped here by Dykes and also Vungana. I'll work it down the short side. A favourite part of the field for Chad Randall, who likes to work down there quickly off the back of a fast play the ball. On this occasion, Kennedy takes it forward. A slow play the ball, too slow for Simpkins. And the referee gives the first penalty of the game to Manly.
Well, you spoke about the kickoff. I actually believed it was a planned kickoff to kick it high. Manly, they had their 10 metres covered, then they were deep.
Heckenberg it is, who takes it up towards the Sharks' 30-metre line. Again down the short side to Watmoe, who runs at Vungana, who is up inside the 10.
2 in a row, offside. Wait, here.
Already, Warren, I can see a pattern forming here for the Manly team. Dykes, Vungana, they defending together, probably the two most dangerous attacking players for the Sharks. Manly trying to make them do a lot of work early.
Here's Kite for the line. He's within a metre. Stopped in a scything tackle by Matt Hilda. Randall Monaghan lost it in the first attempt, the first real chance of the game. In the opening couple of minutes, Manly, off the back of 2 penalties, get inside the Sharks' 20, but the captain coughs it up.
He's a good player, Michael Monaghan, but he is susceptible to some early mistakes in his games. He showed it last weekend. It's important that he and Michael Witt show plenty of composure and take the right options, execute perfectly here this afternoon.
Mayava will play it. He was so good last week, the best forward on the field for the Sharks. And now a forward pass from Matt Hilder to Sam Icemonger, and the Eagles will come on the attack again.
Well, when the opposition makes an error, one thing that you have to do when you receive the football is get to your kick. You can't make an error after the opposition team has given you a chance with a football.
Seconds locked in and Boyne. Ball in. Out.
Monaghan goes to Hopoate, who was standing at centre from the scrum with Hill on the wing. You can see he has that right thigh heavily bandaged. Had a fitness test at 1 o'clock. Now he drops the ball, but it was knocked out by the Sharks, says the referee.
Come on, boys, get your heads on.
Might have been a lucky call for the Seagulls. He took it forward, was stopped there by Russell Aiken. Well, it looked as though he just lost that cold.
Lucky. Paul Simpkins telling the boys to get their heads on.
Here's Heckenberg charging at the line, stopped by Mayava and also Hilda. Manly's second venture inside the 20 of the Sharks. Another penalty.
Come here, come here. Okay, in no time at all, we've had 4 penalties against you, okay? That situation there, I've called him held. The dancing situation pulls him to the ground after the call of held. Got to clean it up, mate, otherwise you have to do something about it. Wait, wait!
Manly again. Randall, dummies from the tap. Tried to beat Bird, who stopped him a metre short. Kite waits at dummy half. Michael Witt gets to first receiver, turns it back on the inside for Heckenberg. They've been under plenty of pressure to start this game, the Sharks. They've stood tall so far. Monaghan, they will go straight through them. 4 straight penalties to Manly to begin this game. And the captain and halfback, Michael Monaghan, gives them a 4-0 lead.
On the back of good field position penalties, Michael Monaghan, we spoke about executing and taking the right options. On this occasion, he does. Just showing the ball, holding it out in 2 hands, and the Sharks all of a sudden sliding. See, I've got a problem with that penalty. I think they're allowed, just while they're dancing around with him, to try and force him to the ground. But there you see Monaghan slipping between Mayava and Phil Bailey. They move up, but then all of a sudden they start to ball watch. We spoke in the pre-game show about watching ball players. It's a cardinal sin. You've got to go, you've got to make them make a decision. Don't let them dictate to you. As a ball player, you feel under pressure if the opposition are coming out at you, and it cut down your time. And when you cut down someone's time, you struggle to make the right choices.
Here's Michael Witt. He's a very solid goal kicker, 72% success rate, basically a 3 out of 4 man. Not a difficult one to start. Here's kicking duties this afternoon. He pots the conversion. That man, Des Hasler, the Manly coach, would be delighted with the start that his side has got here today. They wasted a chance in the opening minute and a half when Monaghan put the ball down close to the line, but he made amends at the second opportunity to get across the line. They lead 6 points to 0. Another shallow but high kickoff in the direction of Monaghan once more. This time he takes it comfortably and gives it back to Brent Kite.
Move it now. Move. Hold. Go.
Randall from dummy half. Burrowing into the markers there. Bailey and also Adam Dykes were there to stop him. Watmo will give it to Kennedy. The second of the 2 big off-season signings for Manly in conjunction with Brent Kite. Hopoate from the right-hand side of the field comes to the left to get to dummy half and bullocks his way in trademark Hopoate fashion, but loses the ball. Fighting in the tackle, he lost the handle on it, and the Sharks will get it here from the scrum at the halfway line.
That's what Hopoate does well. He gets out of dummy half. Look, on that occasion, the Sharks were lucky. Dykes had his hand there, looked as though he may have stripped the football.
Come together. Fine.
It's the new hairdo of the 2005 season.
What's that one?
The Hopoate half mohawk. Thin on the sides, long at the back.
Carl Webb took that to an extreme on Friday night when he decided to play barber on his own head. It might be the first and last time for the Cowboys forward. Vangana playing it to Simmons, who comes to Russell Aitken. This rookie halfback, very impressive junior career, a Sharks junior in fact. Here's Mayaba now, cutting it up towards the 20-metre line. The Sharks get their first chance deep on the attack here. Hilda on play number 5, goes to Aitken, who will kick early in the count. In fact, it was Dykes who chipped it over the top. But that man, Hopoate, you were talking about, haircut or not, was able to take it well. Here's Hill, working it away from the corner. It's Randall. Comes to Kennedy. And charges back in behind the ruck area. Terry Hill urging his forwards on to get involved here and work them away from their own 20. Here's Hopoate trying to do just that. He'll play it to Randall, still at their own 20. Comes to Brent Kite as they go wider still to Menzies. Gets an arm free, gives it back to Kite. Something looming here for Manly with numbers. Monahan had Donald there. Split out of the tackle there of Russell Aitken. Now fires it over the top. It was a Hail Mary, and luckily it went to Chad Randall. He did well eventually, Monahan, to keep it in play as Witt will kick from inside his 40, but he goes down the middle of the park with both Peachy and also Luke Cavell playing deep. Simmons stayed up in the line on the short side of the field, and he brings it back, Cavell to the 30. McGoldrick out of dummy half, nabbed by Terry Hill, but the veteran jumped away from marker too quickly for the referee's liking.
Well, last weekend against the Warriors, Manly, defensively, they were very aggressive. They were getting up off their line from marker. They were very strong. They were picking up the big forwards, and they only conceded one line break. Des Hasler would be looking for that repeat performance here this afternoon.
Hold, go.
Lomu playing it for Hilda as it comes from Aitken. Away to Greg Bird, who gives it to Dykes, who was almost away until he was stopped in a hurry there by Stevenson and also Kennedy. They crunched him in the end. Hilda from dummy half himself takes it down to about the 27-metre mark. 8 minutes gone here at Brookvale, and it's the locals who lead 6-0. Peachy to the left-hand side they go. A flat pass, in fact, more than flat. Greg Bird is the man who was disappointed. He wanted the ball earlier. And they've come up with a couple of mistakes. The Sharks, one at either end of the field now.
This is where Peachy's dangerous, when he's drifting across field, looking for people that come back at the angle, either on the inside or hitting a short pass. It did travel forward on that occasion. The touch judge has called it. Peachy wasn't impressed with it.
Stay bound, ball
but
in.
it was the correct decision.
To Greg Alexander as Terry Hill works it away.
Yeah, look, worrying signs for the Sharks on their previous set when they had the Manly side hemmed onto the sideline on the 5th tackle there. Michael Witt put the ball downfield, but there was absolutely no chase, no pressure put on Michael Witt. It was the perfect opportunity to put some pressure on his kicking game, and they didn't move. They were very slow off the line. That's what they were good at last week.
And that's what Stuart Raper spoke about in our pre-game show. As Randall is stopped here from dummy half. There he is, watching on for the moment. Stuart Raper high in the grandstand here at Brookvale as Brent Kite fends away from the tackle of Hilda. Lost it as it comes to Dykes. Got a forearm from Kennedy and then tried to put a Benji Marshall on as he came to Monahan.
Manly last weekend, while they were great defensively, they did turn over plenty of ball. And the Sharks, they have got some talent in this football team if they can control it, and Manly give them good field position.
Icemonger working it up towards the Manly 30-metre line. Standing in the tackle, got it out the back, off the legs there of Hilda, but it came to Menzies, who fires it all the way back to the fullback, Brett Stewart, who certainly can run. He was almost away on that occasion. Monahan kicking on just the second play here, looking for the flyer, Scott Donald, but the kick is too big.
Where'd that come from?
It would have been interesting had it stayed in play. Who would have won that race, because Donald is one of the quickest men in the NRL.
I always thought that Dave Simmons may have had him covered, but Donald, good option by Michael Monahan. The ball going into touch, but it just keeps the back three for the Sharks thinking. That was early in the tackle count, off a turnover. Always scheming, Michael Monahan.
A little smile on the face there as he contemplated that ad-lib play. Certainly the last thing I'm sure the Sharks were expecting off the back of the turnover. It worked out okay. They'll make the Sharks work it away from their own end here through Icemonger, who runs at Terry Hill. Hill, of course, had such a battle last week with Clinton Torpey. We'll see if he uses gamesmanship this afternoon, perhaps on Ryan McGoldrick, his opposite number. Here's a mistake from Andrew Lomu. The former Rooster coughing it up and putting the Sharks under all sorts of pressure again.
Well, early in a game, you just can't afford to do that. Andrew Lomu looking around, disappointed with the pass, but it should have been taken. Again, turning the ball over, 25 metres out.
Here's Witt as he comes to Stewart. Runs away from Vangana, who grabs him by the coattail. Still not tackled. Now he is at the Sharks' 20. Looking to score their second try of the game with a full set of 6 here up their sleeve, as Watmow has been solid so far, but he runs into a very good tackle on this occasion from Greg Bird. He enjoyed that, the lock forward today. Monahan comes to Heckenberg. He bounced off the shoulder of Icemonger, who was able to hang on with the help of Lomu. Randall goes to the right-hand side. Witt turns it back on the inside for Kite. They cracked when Monahan scored. They have 2 more plays here, though, to hang on the Sharks. Monahan this time kicking through. The bounce was perfect. It set up for Anthony Watmow. And Paul Simpkins will just check to make sure he was onside.
Well, we speak about options in your halves. And Monahan, once again, tackle 4, little kick in behind. Previous set of 6, it was a deep kick on tackle 2. And Watmow, one of the quickest back rowers in the game, charging through. Looks as though he's onside. Planting the ball down. Monahan, lovely left foot kick. Difficult to do. He was under pressure. Timed his run perfectly, Watmow.
It looks as though he's onside, as you say. Almost impossible to tell from the angles we have, of course, with the cameras positioned at the halfway line. And any time a kick goes in as close to the line as that one was, it's almost a waste of time, if you like, to send it to the video referee, because it would be impossible for him to tell. He could be a metre offside or a metre onside, and you wouldn't really be able to make a case either way. But he did look comfortably onside from that particular replay. Yeah, he judged it to perfection. He's quite fast too, Watmow. You can see him holding back on his run. And then Monahan, what a kick, well weighted. Just thinking, the Sharks, they were moving off their line. They had the runners covered. There you see it. Of course, Watmow only needs to have some part of his body behind the ball, if you like, to be onside. He looked to be, and you would expect to see the green lights here. Continue this great start for Manly. The kick couldn't have bounced any better for the second rower. He gets a try. And it is the Seagulls doing it very nicely to begin this game. They lead 10 points to 0.
He was their best player last week, Watmow, over there in New Zealand. He's aggressive. He came off the bench last weekend as Monahan puts the ball through. And he's an enthusiastic type of player. Very aggressive when he defends. Puts his hand up to carry the football over the advantage line. Can go wide as a back rower. Also play him tight.
Michael Witt with a simpler conversion attempt than his first one. He sticks it across. And it's an even dozen here for the Seagulls. 12-0 over the Sharks to begin this one, Greg.
Yeah, look, it's been a great start by the Manly skipper, Michael Monahan. He's had everything in his game today. He's running to the line. His kicking game's been good. He's scored a try. Now, he came to the club last year, took over the captaincy from Steve Menzies midway through the year, and his leadership, he really has revelled in it. He's a star performer for the Manly side.
And here he is again, making it 3 out of 3 as far as catching kickoffs is concerned. He gave it to Heckenberg, who was met there by Lomu and Mayava, who have some making up to do after some early mistakes in this game. Kennedy.
Up. Don't kick, man.
He'll play it here to Chad Randall. Hopoate again getting close to the action. Running at them. In a strong fashion once more, he picked up 15 metres. Here's Kennedy. Gets them up to the halfway line. They've done that in 4 plays. A very good set of 6 here from the Manly forwards. And now a penalty again.
We've got the net. Leave it alone.
A penalty there against Ryan McGoldrick, who could construe it as a grapple tackle.
What a difference a week makes in football. Last weekend, the Sharks, they defended well, they caught the ball, their completion rates were good. And today, gone back to their old ways, been a little bit undisciplined, given away penalties, dropped too much football, and find themselves behind early in the contest, 12-0.
It might be more in a moment as Heckenberg takes Manly inside the Sharks' 20. Hopoate from dummy half. Will charge at them once again. Here he is trying to fend away from Hilder and also Phil Bailey. Randall goes back to the right-hand side, has Kennedy with him, spins in the tackle of Icemonger. It comes to Witt, he ducks underneath them. He was stopped by Mayava at the def. Randall gives it to Monahan. Monahan here will get his second. It's too easy for Manly at the moment. Michael Monahan gets across the line for the second time in the first quarter of an hour, and it's 16 points to 0.
He's on fire, Michael Monahan. They just had quick play the balls, and Monahan stepping around McGoldrick. Last week, they defended great, the Sharks. This week, they have missed plenty of tackles. And Monahan going across to score a simple try. Just an easy step. 2 tries today.
Well, the penalties absolutely killing the Sharks at the moment. It was barely 3 minutes ago that man Monahan put the kick in for Anthony Watmo to score. Now here we are, Michael Witt again with a conversion attempt to make it 18 points to 0, which would put the Sea Eagles ahead of the clock. They have been blown off the park. Manly helped, of course, by this run of penalties. The penalty set again. Gets them in position, and they make the most of it. Witt trying to keep his perfect afternoon with the boot going. He does that, and it's 18 to 0. Manly, 3 tries in a blistering opening to this game, and the Sharks haven't got warm.
Well, there was a lot of optimism for Manly in the off-season. Stuart Raper looks on with a worried look about their new signings. And already in this game, they have been great, Kennedy and Brent Kite.
Monahan from the kickoff gives it to Kite. A deeper one this time. Perhaps the Sharks figure the short kickoff hasn't worked. Let's go for a deeper one. Kennedy brings it back midfield to be stopped at the 20. Randall to Hopoate. It's a carbon copy of the previous set, and of course off the back of that set they went downfield, got a penalty on the grapple tackle, if you like, from McGoldrick, and scored from the ensuing set of 6. Heckenberg will play it. 15 on his own side of halfway. Witt from inside his 40, kicking down the middle of the park. There was more pressure on him this time, but there needs to be pressure and then some from the Sharks to try and get themselves back into this game. Simmons picked up in a strong tackle. It was made by Monahan.
This is a period in a game where you can tell a lot about the opposition when they're 18 points behind. Whether they start to clock watch, whether they've got the ability upstairs in their minds to put the scoreboard out of their heads and just continue on with the game. Continue on with every ruck, not thinking too far down the track, just worrying about the present.
Stuart Raper has gone to his bench earlier perhaps than he planned to do, as Aiken gives it on here to Galloway. Rhys Williams is also out there now, so 2 forwards thrown in to the fray by Raper. Galloway plays it to Hilder, who kicks from dummy half, looking for the corner. Perhaps wouldn't mind it staying in play, and it's exactly what he got as it sat down just next to the corner post. And here's Stewart, straight through them. He comes to Aiken, who makes a good tackle on him.
Well, that's not good enough. Kick chase. Last week they were fantastic against Reece Wesser. All the things that they did last week, they aren't doing this afternoon.
2 movement.
And early in the season, that's what your games build on. Your game is built on discipline. Your game is built on ball control. Your game is built on good kick chasing. And the Sharks are showing none of that.
Heckenberg takes it across the halfway line. He'll play it to Randall. Monahan gives it here to Brent Kite.
Make it back.
Inside the 40 again of the Sharks. This time they'll go with a bomb. Some pressure coming up on Dave Simmons. Tracking back, he lets it bounce. Donald is there. It's still there for Manly. Peachy picks it up, but he was offside.
I'm sorry, mate. Forward. Wait. I'll give you the mark. Hang on.
Didn't it come from behind him? Where did it bounce?
Wait.
He'll go himself.
Go.
David Peachy wanted to argue the toss.
Well, he had to make a play of it, didn't he, David Simmons?
10 here.
You got to, in that situation, make an attempt at the football. You can't let it bounce.
Here's Heckenberg. It might cost the Sharks another 6 points here.
Let him go.
Manly's a couple away when Heckenberg plays it. Monahan runs past Kennedy. He gives it to Witt. He steps off the right foot. He offloads. It comes back to Brent Kite. They swarm on top of him and knock him to ground.
Marcus square.
He'll play it 7 away from the Sharks line. Randall comes back to the open. Monahan back on the inside here for Kennedy. Got away from one tackle there of Reece Williams.
Back.
Dykes on the line behind the play the ball. Ushering players around, looking for his defenders to move to the open side. It won't matter. That's where Dykes wanted them to go. Stewart dives across, and it's 22 points to 0. This point-scoring avalanche continues at Brookvale.
Well, they're behind and they're trying to get a bit aggressive in their defence, but when they're making the collision, the Sharks, they're not hanging on. They're not hitting and sticking. That's the ball that Simmons should have attempted. Instead, he let it bounce, and then it was in the lap of the gods. They gave away a penalty. Monahan again running the football. Look, the contact's there. There's 3 guys involved in the tackle, but the offload from Monahan into Stewart. Stewart got low, and he accelerates. He's got good speed. He knows there's a try in the offering. He sets himself the task. He gets there to score the 4th try of the afternoon for the Eagles.
The 15th try in the career of Brett Stewart, which is now just in its 20th game. He's going at a rate of 3 out of 4 as far as scoring tries are concerned, and Michael Witt makes it 4 from 4 with the boot. Sam Icemonger is coming from the field with a bit of blood flowing from a cut, Greg Alexander.
Yeah, look, Sam Icemonger is off. Michael Sullivan just about to go onto the field, but look, we spoke about conditions prior to the game, and it is very muggy down here. And just looking at a reason why the Sharks are so sluggish, they haven't played a day game yet. Both their trial games were at night. They played the Panthers at night last week, whereas Manly played during the day over in New Zealand. That could give them just a little bit of an edge, and they've certainly got a big one at the moment.
Haven't they what? As Lulawai is out there now for the Seagulls to take it from the kickoff.
Oh, go.
Penalty count now 6-1 against the Sharks. It's Kennedy. Works it up towards the 30, gets away from 3 tacklers, and then trying to offload. It comes away from Dykes. It will be a knock-on, though, first on against Kennedy as Randall and Peachy come to grips and want to argue the toss. Big run from Kennedy, though, almost got them off to the races again.
Well, just strong. See, the contact. Not sticking, not wrapping up the ball. When you make contact, there's got to be a teamwork in your defence, and someone's got to work the body, someone's got to work the legs, someone's got to cover the football. They're just going in, basically trying to stop and solve the problem themselves. No communication in the tackle.
Galloway playing it 25 away from the Manly line as Williams. Short ball there for Dykes. He stepped back into the traffic. Kennedy couldn't stop him. It came through the hands. It keeps going. Gallen got it on. Went to McGoldrick. Now it comes back to Bird. He's trying to weave his way between Kennedy and also Menzies. From dummy half, Sullivan. The live wire is picked off, and a good tackle this time by Menzies. Sullivan pinches a couple of metres and might be penalised. No, in fact, it will go against the Seagulls. He might have got a bit lucky there.
They need to be able to sustain pressure, the Sharks. At the moment, it's just too easy for the Eagles. Sullivan, he's a dangerous player. The Eagles have got to be aware of him from dummy half. Menzies was on that occasion. He picked him up quite sharply.
Dykes comes to Bailey, who puts that right foot step on. He's stopped there by Monahan and also Watmo. Vangana through the hands of Dykes to Sullivan. He cuts out Aitken to go to Galloway. One-on-one there with the smaller Chad Randall, who cut him down from behind. Sullivan from dummy half will turn it back on the inside here for Gallen. He pops it out the back. It comes to Aitken. He's still going. Runs in behind Williams. Dykes turns it back for Peachy. He'll reach out and try and score, and will plant the ball down on the try line, but we will come back to look at an obstruction play.
We've got the ball on the line here.
There's no doubt about Peachy planting it down, but when Russell Aitken got the ball, he ran in behind one of his own players, and we'll see if it was obstruction.
Well, Peachy, I've got no doubt he gets the ball over the line. But that's not what we're looking at. The Sharks, they're offloading. They're keeping the ball alive. First it was the cross play from Gallen, and this is the part. Monahan's claiming he was obstructed by Reece Williams. So give us a better view. Well, I don't think Monahan was ever going to get him, but I think there is a case there of obstruction.
Here's Aitken again, stepping away from Heckenberg, got away from the Watmo tackle, and you could say there that certainly, with Reece Williams travelling forward, denied Monahan the chance to get closer to Russell Aitken. And having had a look at that particular angle there, I'm with you. I think we might see the red lights.
Well, they need to try here, the Sharks, to get back into the game. Things aren't going their way. And they've just proved to themselves in that set of 6, if they can get decent field position, build a bit of pressure, repeat set, they will be able to put points on.
But now, video referee Chris Waters had a couple of looks at it. He comes up with a no try, and the Sea Eagles get a penalty. A piece of bad luck there for the Sharks, but there was no denying that Reece Williams getting in front of the football as he did meant that Michael Monahan wasn't given a fair crack at getting to the ball carrier. Witt will find the line, and the locals here at Brookvale are really enjoying this. Ben Kennedy gets a big hand as he comes from the field. 25 minutes of solid work from the former Newcastle Knight. Sam Harris is out there now for Manly, and he takes it up towards the 30-metre line. Play it back to Randall. Come down the short side to Hopoate, who has got plenty of touches already in this game.
Wait, play the ball.
It's his 9th carry for a winger who comes midfield. It's what he's done for the last couple of seasons, of course, here at Brookvale.
Hold.
He's done it very effectively again this afternoon. Monahan kicking once again. Early in the tackle count, no pressure on him. As a consequence, it rolls across the line. They are just cruising at the moment. It's almost a training run here for Manly suddenly.
Well, we spoke early in the game about kick pressure, and Monahan, he's been mixing his kicking game up. He's been short, he's been long, kicking early in the tackle count, waiting till 4th or 5th tackle. And on that occasion, no one applying any pressure. And Monahan just gets the time to place it where he wants to put it.
Out.
There's Gallen, who was in some doubt before the game with a calf muscle injury.
Movement.
He passed a fitness test to take his place.
Go.
Sullivan comes to Williams, the transgressor, if you like, in the obstruction play, which denied David Peachy the first try for the Sharks. Sullivan again comes back to Gallen, tipping it on to Galloway. Kylie Lulawai is a big hit merchant and can race up off the line, looking to crunch a first receiver at times, and he almost did on that occasion. Galloway playing it here. Here's Bailey working it forward to be stopped by Harris and also Randall.
Hold back here. Hold. Go.
Dykes cuts out Peachy. Comes away to Greg Bird, who will play it almost back at the halfway line. Sullivan will give it to Dykes, perhaps. We'll think about a little chip over the top, and that's exactly what he comes up with. He was Knocked to the ground on his way through and get a clean passage, chasing through his own chip, but it didn't matter in the end, I don't think, because Stewart was able to get to it pretty quickly. And here's Hopoate once more.
2, move. Marcus square.
He'll play it at the Manly 40. Stevenson from dummy half hasn't seen a lot of the ball. Most of the action, as far as Manly working it away from their own end, has come down the right-hand side of the field. And they've done that very well, as Williamson is met there by Aitken and also Sullivan. Randall goes to Monahan. He had Luluwai back on the inside. Menzies stops in his run, looking to offload. He's still there standing. Been a hard man to get to ground this afternoon in this opening half an hour, as Randall gives it to Witt, who bombs once again for the wing of Dave Simmons. This time he will play it and takes it over the touchline on the full. He caught it in mid-air.
He's a little bit rattled. Ben Kennedy on the bench. Had a fantastic start to this game, carrying the football strongly. He's carted the ball in close, and he's also given himself a little bit of room out wide. 6 tackles, 8 hit-ups, 1 offload, and already proving to be one of the Eagles' best.
Ball in, out.
Here's Manly on the attack. Monahan from the scrum win after the Simmons mistake. It comes to Terry Hill. Going sideways is an easy target there for McGoldrick. Hopoate runs down the short side himself, gets away from McGoldrick's tackle. Cavella's able to stop him with the help of Dykes. Hill will feed it to Michael Witt. Some confusion there for the 5'8" as to who was supposed to get it. In the end, he made a mistake. He looked up and saw Luluwai, Williamson were all there. Monahan was further to the left-hand side of the forwards.
In on there, in the 20.
Score could have really been anything here in this opening half an hour. They have made a number of mistakes on the attack inside the Sharks 20, haven't they?
Well, they have, and lucky for the Sharks that they have.
1, movement.
I mean, Manly have nearly doubled the amount of possession
2, move.
from what the Sharks have had. 70-30 at this stage. You're never going to win a football game when that's going against you.
Movement. 3.
Manly, courtesy of 7 penalties, of course, have already had 21 sets of 6. Luluwai flew through the air. There is a problem here. Keith Galloway is down. Luluwai cleaned him up. I told you he was a big hit, Merchant. Or rather, it was John Hopoate who came through. He's limping away from the contest. Terry Hill liked what he saw, but Galloway is in all sorts of trouble.
Well, Hopoate just set himself to sight, the target. Ooh, he leaps into Galloway there. Has he raised the forearm and collected Galloway in the head? Hopoate. He jumps in the air. He's trying to fire his teammates up and makes contact. Well,
there is no doubt about the contact. Galloway gets it away, or Hopoate with the left forearm. That's a send-off offence, no doubt. Oh, he got him. That's bad.
no doubt in the world, this should be off.
It's a terrible, terrible collision. And the video referee, having had a look at it, of course, can advise the on-field referee, Paul Simpkins, from what he's seen. And it will be stunning if Hopoate isn't sent from the field here. A player who has, of course, such a bad record for a variety of reasons. Congratulated there by his teammate, but there might be frowns on the faces of the Seagulls in just a moment.
Well, I think everyone at the ground thought it was a big hit. I did here. Until I watched the replay and you see the forearm is raised by Hopoate. It doesn't look good. Galloway's in a little bit of trouble. And it is an illegal hit.
Yeah.
He has raised the forearm. If the video referee doesn't make contact with the referee and say off, this will stun me.
Let's see what the referee has to say. It might be a short conversation by the time John Hopoate makes it in from his position on the right wing to speak to Paul Simpkins. Well, there is still a lot of concern here for Keith Galloway. It was as nasty as we've seen for some time. You have to go back to some incidents we've seen a couple of seasons ago. Luke O'Donnell playing for the Tigers hit Michael Monaghan, now of course the captain here of Manly, with a sickening forearm which broke the Manly captain's jaw on that occasion.
And Hopoate has found himself in a lot of trouble over the last few years, but his start to the game has been terrific so far. Carrying the football, he's been great, but this one little incident may lead him into a lot of trouble.
Well, Keith Galloway, they bring the Jordan frame out for him. Stuart Raper can't believe what he's just seen.
Yeah, and I don't mean that literally as a problem. I mean, it is a big concern what he has done.
Lulawai, I called Lulawai is coming out of the line. It's a sort of tackle that he likes to make, getting up out of the line quickly, but Hopoate flashed up as quick as you like. It was after Galloway had passed the ball. He went high and raised the forearm. And wow, it's a terrible, terrible incident here at the 30-minute mark of this first half. And you can only hope, and we'll bring you news as to the condition of Keith Galloway as soon as we have some. You can only hope they're just taking every precaution with him at the moment, and that he is or will be okay in the short term. That was nasty, wasn't it?
Very. You just hope that the youngster is okay. And as you mentioned, the doctors are out there. He's in good hands, and they will take their time.
Yeah.
They have the brace around the neck of Keith Galloway. And of course, the care in the NRL, all levels of the game, is first class these days. Leaders in the medical world all involved with various clubs, leading physicians and also physiotherapists and trainers in a variety of sports find themselves connected with all of the 15 clubs. They know as much about these types of injuries as anybody going around, so they will be looking after Keith Galloway with first-class treatment here. You can be rest assured of that. There's a very concerned coach's box watching on from the Cronulla camp. The scoreline was bad enough, but this incident almost overshadows that by some margin. Keith Galloway gets a hand as he comes from the field, and now Simpkins will talk to John Hopoate.
There was contact. I determined it was deliberate contact or often.
Well, John Hopoate is stunned, but he may change his mind when he sees a replay of the incident. It was as nasty as we've seen for a long time. There was no doubt that he raised his forearm and cleaned up Keith Galloway, and Manly will play now for the next 50 minutes, a man short.
Well, they've got it right.
Sent off for the contact on Galloway.
They've got it right, Warren.
Here's Mayava now taking it down the field. He'll play it at the 30-metre line to Sullivan. We'll see how the Seagulls respond, and also the Sharks, perhaps having seen their teammate carried from the field, it might just inspire them here. Williams playing it to Sullivan. Bailey comes down this short side. Here's Aitken. He comes to Dykes. Gallen runs at Lulawai. Here's Peachy from dummy half, going quickly, giving it to Aitken, and the Sharks respond in the best possible way. The rookie halfback dives over to score their first try.
And that's what you would expect from a team when your teammate has been carried off with an illegal hit. That should inspire them to play some tough football, to be aggressive when they've got the football and also when they're defending. Manly, one man short, quick play the ball, Peachy getting out of dummy half, and Aitken being aware that Peachy loves to offload the football, dives over under the sticks for his first career try. Covell will convert, 18-point ball game, 8.5 minutes to go.
That was the perfect response to the incident we just saw, which saw Hopoate sent from the field. Cavell sticks it over the black dots. 24-6 the scoreline here. And if the Sharks, against this 12-man outfit, and Terry Hill hampered by that thigh muscle injury, perhaps the Sharks, if they could score at least once more before the break, would fancy they would be a huge chance in this game.
Well, you think if they can do the work in the middle of the field, the Sharks forwards, and try and get that rolling and attack the edges, there might be a few opportunities. Menzies has all of a sudden shifted out the left centre. Stevenson's gone to right wing. Hill's playing 3 in.
Hold.
Mayava. Sullivan goes to Williams. Hit a solid tackle over the top there by Lulawai as Greg Bird takes it forward.
3, move it.
He'll play it just outside the 30-metre line. Here's Bailey, working it up towards Watmo before he offloaded to Hutch Mayava. Stopped there by Menzies. Now Sullivan from dummy half, going quickly, looking for options, standing in the tackle, taken to ground there by Watmo on the last. They will kick it from the halfway line. Bungner slow play the ball. Would have easily been a Sharks penalty as Dykes does the kicking. He'll drop it down towards the goal line. Stevenson now on the right-hand side, as you said, Laurie. Cleans it up and will be forced to play at 5 out from his own line as we go downstairs to Greg Alexander.
2, movement.
Well, a problem there with Greg's microphone. We will come back to him in just a moment. Donald playing it here at the 20. Williamson goes to Hill, standing in the tackle of Greg Bird. He also comes to Williams. Eventually they stop him.
Hold.
He played inside his 30, and this good-sized crowd at Brookvale was really enjoying themselves. They'd watched their side rack up 4 tries in the opening 20 minutes of this game, and suddenly there's a pall has just been cast over them by the send-off of Hopoate, and all the noise has been sucked out of the crowd. Here Simmons got away from Donald. He ankle-tapped him again, still going. Eventually it's Watmo who wraps him up. Peachy from dummy half brings it back midfield, looking for a run around there with Reece Williams. Let's go back down to Greg now. Here's Dykes as it comes on the outside to Bird, knocked down by Terry Hill, and the Sharks have 6 more tackles. The tackle count will continue on. Here's Sullivan. He goes down the short side, got away from them. Cavell's away. Williams can't go with him. Here's Stewart reaching out. Cavell looked for the line. He might have got the ball down. We will find out though whether he was in touch.
Contact on the line and then the corner post. Tackle 1.
Well, I thought Cavell done the wrong thing, trying to go on the outside. Stewart had shown him the outside. He wanted to use the sideline as a defender. I thought he would have been better off to come back infield early in the tackle count. At least would have been a quick play the ball, and the Sharks would have been able to keep the pressure on. Big decision. Does he go out? Does he score the try? His legs are up in the air. The ball goes down. I think this will be a 4-pointer. Miraculous effort by Cavell.
It was a good tackle by Stewart. He did everything but drag him across the touchline. There's the ball on the chalk. His legs were still suspended in mid-air over the body there of Brett Stewart. He certainly isn't in touch. The only question mark could be whether the ball was on the line or not. It certainly does look like it from that angle before Luke Williamson comes in and knees the ball loose.
Well, good work. This is where I thought he made the mistake. I thought he needed to come in field. But he backed himself. He backed his ability to get to the line. Stewart does a great job. Cavell goes over. I think he plants it on the line. I think this will be a 4-pointer to the Sharks. And what a change in this game over the last 5 minutes, if it is a try.
There's another angle of it. And from what we've seen, the suggestion from all 3 angles is that the ball caught some part of the try line. This one here certainly gives you that impression there. The point of the ball, you would have thought, looking like it caught some part of the line. Hard to make a definitive call. Sullivan gets the ball to Cleal, and the video referee Chris Ward looking to see, we are told, if a Manly player was taken out in the build-up to the try. Hard to see that one there from what we saw in that replay. And Stuart Raper hoping to see the green lights here, of course. I think we will see them from what we've had a look at. Chris Ward spins up a try for the Sharks. 2 tries in 4 minutes have got them back in the game against Manly, who will, of course, only have 12 men on the park after the Hopoate send-off for the remainder of the game, and Cleal will try and convert his own try.
Well, good work for Sullivan, getting down a short side, getting through the attempted tackle of Michael Witt. Loves short sides, Michael Sullivan. Very quick out of dummy half. At marker, you have to be alert. And what they didn't do, they didn't play a negative defence. And by that, I mean slide away a little bit. The Sharks had the numbers, and they went in to try and commit to the tackle. The markers were slow to react, and Sullivan was able to get in between defenders. Cleal backing himself. Good attempt there by Brett Stewart, but he gets it down in the corner.
Cleal's kick not hooking back, but they're back within 14. Greg, with 4.5 left in this first half.
Yeah, it's been an amazing fight back by the Sharks. Luke Cleal signed from the West Tigers during the off-season. He's one of the new buys now. He was signed because he's a terrific goal kicker, 80% goal kicker, but he showed what a good finisher is in that play there. Able to stand Brett Stewart up and get the ball down in nearly an impossible position.
Was terrific piece of play from the winger to get it down on the line. Michael Witt will get us back underway here. What a change has come over this game, and all off the back of a moment from John Hopoate that he will regret for some time, I'm sure, as the events are played out over the next couple of days and he fronts the judiciary.
Well, it's going to be a big issue. It's going to be a big talking point for the next couple of days.
Sullivan from dummy half comes to Bailey. Menzies there, chops him down, 20 short of the halfway line, and there's a spring in the step suddenly of the Sharks here off the back of the 2 tries they've scored. Gallen running at Witt, pops it away to McGoldrick. He dummies to Dykes, tries to stand up Stevenson. He was able to do that, and eventually it was Williamson who stops him. Dykes takes it across the halfway line. He gives it to Greg Bird. Still standing in the tackle. Eventually he's caught on to play it. Last play here. Aiken dummies the kick. He gives it to Bailey, who grubbies in behind them. Touched by Kennedy. Bailey got a toe on it. Stewart is there. So is Peachy, who knocked it on. A piece of bad luck there for David Peachy, who under pressure in the race for the ball with Stewart knocked it on, and there is John Hopoate. What would be going through his mind given his recent past? He, of course, has had out lengthy suspensions for all sorts of problems in the past, and now here he is. The full weight of what he's done, perhaps, has finally dawned on him.
Well, I'm sure when he watches the replay, he'll be extremely remorseful. You just don't like to see those incidents in the game, especially with the young Galloway getting carted off the football field. A split second, you've got to make your decision.
Ben Kennedy having a bit to say there to the referee during that tackle. He thought perhaps he was attacked, and John Hopoate there still sitting in the dressing room. Well, the whole more you can add to that particular image, is there?
And on the line. Wait for it, hang on. Seconds behind. Ball in.
Aiken with the scrum feed. The Sharks, last possession, you would figure, of this first half, and they will work it away from their own 30-metre line. And the ball comes loose. It will be a penalty to the Sharks.
Well, Well, they get one more opportunity before half-time. Wouldn't they love to go in with another try on the board, the Cronulla team? They've still got to show patience with the football, though, the Sharks.
Keep the discipline, boys.
They've still got to earn the right through the middle of the park with quick play the balls, then allowed.
That's one. Now move
That
it
allows you then to go wide. Just because the opposition are playing with 12 and you sense there's plenty of space out wide.
2. Move again.
Have some control about your football. Execute. Go through your plans that you worked on at training.
Adam Dykes, a cut-out ball to McGoldrick. Good hands to juggle it and catch it. Cleal comes back on the inside there, stopped by Kennedy. He'll play it inside the 20. 30 seconds left in this first half. Dykes eager to go right. Williams gets in behind them, away from the Lulu-wide tackle. Bung it up for the corner. And the Sharks, with a one-man advantage, are back in a big way at Brookvale. It's 24-14, and Manly are treading water at the moment, losing ground all the time to the Sharks, who are spurred on by what they saw happen to their teammate.
Well, it was good work by the Sharks. We spoke about going forward, quick play the balls, but what they've done here is they've spread the Manly defence by going quick play the balls, plenty of people in motion, and Manly not knowing whether to play compressed or a spread defensive line. And when you're one man short, you can't afford missed tackles, because as soon as you miss a tackle, everyone is under pressure. When you've got 13 out there, you can cover up a missed tackle. 12, it starts to become a problem.
Well, Vangana showed good speed. He is blessed with so much of it to win the race for the corner. And now Cleal from the sideline after the halftime siren has sounded to get the Sharks back within 8, and that seemed almost impossible not that long ago. It was going to be a matter of Manly by how many. That changed when Hopoate was sent off. Cleal converts, and now it's 24-16. Manly's 24-point lead is now just 8. An incredible turnaround here at Brookvale. So many incidents and highlights to take a look at halftime. We will take a break now and come back with more on NRL Sunday in just a moment. His lineup. It's a position very familiar to him, of course. He spent plenty of time there over the years. Not too far away from a restart here.
And already changes to the Manly team. If you look out there, Terry Hill in this second 40. Sure, Greg Alexander will keep us up to date on what the problem is, but Luke Williamson is playing right centre to start the second half.
So more problems here for Manly as the Sharks look to continue this roll, which got them back in the game in the last 10 minutes of the first half. Reece Williams met in a strong tackle over the top by Kennedy with Lulu-wide downstairs. Sullivan comes to Bailey. He pops it out the back. A force ball they didn't need at this stage. Luckily, it went backwards, and the Sharks still have it through Peachy. Sullivan goes to Mayava, working it to Lulu-wide.
Well, he learnt from his first mistake, David Peachy. In the back end of that first half, he went to pick one up instead of diving on a loose ball. I'm sure he would have got revved up at half-time about it. On that occasion, just dived on it, saved it for the Sharks.
Here he is turning one on the inside for McGoldrick. So for the moment, Luke Williamson is playing at right centre for Manly. Of course, a former back himself before moving into the forwards with the Seagulls. Here's Dykes weaving around them. He comes to Gallen. He keeps it alive to Sullivan. And then Williams on the last play was set upon. He got it back to Peachy. Still the last tackle. Peachy may not realise. Now he flings it loose, and it comes to Stevenson. The Sharks couldn't get a kick away. Stevenson could have almost been penalised for a voluntary tackle. Luckily, he got back to his feet to run, and the Sharks wrapped him up.
Well, they're full of running at the moment, the Sharks. They've continued where they left off in that back end of that first half. Adam Dykes becomes a key player, even more so now for the Sharks. His options in attacks are so important as they give away a cheap penalty.
Behind. Look where the touch is. Look where the touch is. Michael, I'm not going to have a run and battle with you. I'll make the decisions.
Michael Monaghan upset there was no penalty against Michael Sullivan for what he thought was a high shot on Kylie Luluwai as he took the ball up in that set of 6. And now the Sea Eagles find themselves on the attack, and it will be Luluwai who charges at them. Oh, they launched themselves at him as well. Gallen and also Bird were there to stop him. Here's Witts. He goes to his left-hand side to find Harris. He'll play it. So it comes from Dunley to Monaghan, who's over for his 3rd try in the game. He stares daggers at Paul Simpkins. It just steadies the ship for the Sea Eagles.
Well, in these situations, you need your skipper to lead from the front. He's done that already this afternoon, Michael Monaghan. Just running the football to the line. He's got support players inside and out. And strangely enough, they'd actually work the numbers on the Sharks. It should be the other way around. The Sharks should have too many numbers defensively for Manly, yet Manly, they gather around the football. They know where it was going, and they outnumbered the Sharks, and the Sharks really held back and started to slide a little bit on their line. We have seen already in 2005, it's not a good position to hang back when you're defending your goal line. You have to move forward, and you have to put the ball players under pressure.
Witt has already kicked 4 from 4 in this game. And you can make that 5 from 5. What a start for Manly, whose lead had shrunk to 8. It's now 14, Greg.
Yeah, look, great comeback there by the Manly Sea Eagles this early in the second half. Michael Monaghan hasn't he had a great game, but the word from the coach is Desi Hasler. He said stay positive, and that's certainly what they did in that early part with Michael Monaghan's try. The sending off of John Hopoate certainly knocked their confidence around a bit. Stuart Raper said, we don't have to win the game in the first 5 minutes. They're down to 12 men. We've got an opportunity now. If we control the ball, the tries will come.
Here's Harris playing it. Stevenson working it away from his 20. Play at midfield to Dunley. Here's Luluwai. Takes it up to Sullivan, who again took him around the shoulders. Dunley to Kennedy. A step away from the Goldrick tackle.
Go.
Monaghan goes across the halfway line. He fires a ball to Menzies. He comes to Vangana, who chopped him down. He bounced up again. Still standing there, Stephen Menzies. Plays it to Donald. Here's Monaghan. Got a flat pass to Dunley. Trying to flick it out the back. It went forward.
Change over here.
And the build-up, which was looking so nice for Manly, stops with a forced pass from Dunley.
Go.
Well, Manly, using the football, they're not going to go into their shell. But the Sharks, they've got to improve their defence. They've got to be more aggressive. They've got to be more aggressive when they're defending and when they're carrying the football. They showed what they can do in that last 10 minutes of the first half.
Mayava takes it across the 30-metre line. We'll play it back to Sullivan. Gallen, who was in doubt before the game, as we told you, with a calf muscle injury, but doesn't appear to be hampered by it at the moment. Bailey runs at Monaghan. He got a good ball away to Simmons. Almost got away from Donald himself. He'll play it at the 40 on the last play. When the Sharks get to their kick, they can this time after struggling on the previous set of 6 at this end of the field. Stevenson made a nice catch before Peachy stopped him with an ankle tap.
That's a good sign for the Sharks. David Peachy chasing a kick, getting heavily involved. That's what they need more from him. He is the skipper today. Take a bit of pressure off Adam Dykes, Russell Aiken. And he is a guy that can turn the game in a twinkling.
Go.
Here's Dunley from dummy half. Saw a gap in between the A defenders either side of the play the ball. And now Menzies does the dummy half honours himself. Monahan from inside the 40 tries to kick it over the head of Peachy, looking for a 40-20, but the fullback got a lucky bounce and in the end will play it. 35 out from his own line. Vangana from dummy half. Go to Simmons, who will just work it back midfield where he's met there by Lulaway. Did well, in fact, to beat the front rower. Also, Harris was there to stop him. Sullivan now comes to Dykes. McGoldrick gets a quick ball from the 5'8".
Hold.
Cavell. Come to Gallen with Mayava on his outside. Stands in the tackle before Harris is able to swing him to ground with the help of Dunley. 2 tackles left in this set of 6. Here's Aitken. He's played a very minor role, you would have to say, in the Sharks' attack this afternoon, despite being their first try scorer. Sullivan will just chip it into the in goal here and wants it to sit down. Stevenson took an age, and luckily for him, it just trickled touch in goal.
Well, I'm sure Desi Hasler in the coach's box would have been getting heart flutters then. Stevenson letting it go. One thing I'd like to see the Sharks do is you see the kick coming in there by Michael Sullivan.
Movement.
Because Manly are playing a compressed defence, they're really worried about maybe the Sharks getting them down the middle and then spreading the ball. Just have a bit of width off their dummy half play. They get a little bit of width off the dummy half play. All of a sudden they can get to the edge straight away without too much of a risk.
Well, Phil Bailey has been penalised here, and he certainly is a player who can give a penalty away.
Settle it down. We've got a forearm down on the head there. It's silly stuff. It's silly stuff. We won't tolerate it anymore. Been constant infringements in the play the ball. Someone's going to have a rest next time, OK? Get him to clean it out. Clean it out.
A bit of working over by Bailey in the tackle there. That was the reason for the penalty. And now Lulaway will work it up towards the Sharks' 30-metre line. Manly have scored once already in the second half through Monahan. A chance to extend this lead again. Down a man. Dunley comes to Monahan. Here's Harris showing it before putting the foot down himself. He'll play it. About 12 out from the Sharks' line. Witt at first receiver. Gives it to Kennedy. He's only a couple away. He'll play it there on tackle 4. Stewart from dummy half. Goes to Monahan. Back on the inside for Witt. He's stopped by Gallen and also Sullivan.
Play it.
Last play. Monahan chips. Pressure here on Simmons, who knocks it over the dead ball line.
At the 20.
It was last, though, off a hand from Manly.
Wait for it. Wait.
Piece of luck here for the Sharks. Donald was there flying for it. It was well weighted by Monahan, and as Simmons went to the air, he knocked it backwards, but then Donald got a touch there while he was still in the field of play. Mayava taking it up towards the 40-metre line for the Sharks. They'll need to hang tight here in this middle period of the first half, but here's Cavell making a mistake in a rare foray to the middle of the park, and now Point loses it as well. Well, nobody laid a hand on him. It was a pumpkin moment.
Well, I'm sure they'll be in the running. But just on Luke Cavell, because he's not a winger that gets involved, say, like a Hopoate, his touches have to be perfect.
Go in if you want timeout.
It's different if you're making 20 touches a game, like a Hopoate.
Stay in.
You know that you're going to get a mistake occasionally, but when you're a winger that doesn't touch the ball like that, you haven't got a high work rate. Every touch has got to be special. You can't afford to give away cheap turnovers.
One now. Put him up. Back.
For the Sharks from the halfway line. Come to Aiken, who fires a nice ball to Vangana. They've got it 36 out from the Manly line. Simmons comes to Bailey. He'll pick up a gain of 10 metres or so. Worked over by Monahan at the tackle. Here's Dykes as he bypasses Gallen. The pass was too fine. It was out in front of Greg Bird. It just scraped past the shoulder of Gallen as he run the decoy. It might have put Bird off, who had to reach out for it to his left-hand side. A wasted chance by the Sharks.
I think it was just a sloppy pass by Adam Dykes. really didn't go through the pass. He knew where it wanted it to go, just got a little bit lazy on the end. Wasn't a bullet-like pass out in front. Started to float away a little bit from Greg Bird.
Here's Kite, taking it over the 30-metre line. Stopped there by Lomu. They've done well. A man down in the second half, Manly. Dunley working it away up towards the halfway line. Stopped there by Gallant. Very vigorous after part to the tackle as Kennedy tries to pop a ball, but it went forward to Heckenberg. Well, some good things this afternoon, Ben Kennedy, but also a couple of offloads where he's forced the issue haven't worked out.
Luke? Well, you talk about leaders, and Ben Kennedy, since half-time, has come out and tried to lead by example to his footy team. There's no one in the Sharks team that has done that yet in this second half. They've done it for a 10-minute period in the first 40.
One now, release.
But they need the leaders to stand up.
Dykes at the halfway line. Comes to Lomu. He'll play it. 40 out from the Manly line. They'd love something in this set of 6 here. Here's Mayava. Sullivan to Dykes. He comes to Bird. He's got Gallen on his outside. But Michael Witt and Luke Williamson were sweating on him. They're able to stop him 15 away. McGoldrick to Dykes again. Short ball to Lomu. Got an offload. Kite got a hand to it and knocked it back. And it's picked up by Anthony Watmo. And the Sea Eagles have it with a bit of counter-attack. Gallen was there looking for a rake, trying to rip the ball loose one-on-one from Michael Witt, but he wasn't able to do so. And now Stewart it is, who takes it, or Stevenson rather, who takes it across the 30. And 10 in the bin here for Ryan McGoldrick.
The difference is he's done it 3 times, mate.
The penalty counts about 11-3, that's why.
Go, Pete. You've heard the decision. It's a decision.
Well, it's 12 on 12 again, and suddenly it's David Peachy here and Ryan McGoldrick wearing the black hats for the Sharks.
Well, last time there was a man off the field, the Sharks responded with plenty of aggression. Are they going to do it again in this 10-minute period?
One movement.
Kite will play it just outside the Sharks' 20. Hackenberg, a charging run. He almost bowled Sullivan out of the way. Dunley from dummy half. He's going himself and will get there. Some powerful play from Manly. They open up a big lead once again. Do you reckon they're fired up? It's 34-16 with 26 to go.
Well, again, the Sharks just not moving forward off their defensive line.
I was just saying, what's the difference between that tackle and Adam Dykes' tackle?
And my interpretation was Dicey was tackled, his legs were up in the air, he got away when he could. The movement was there straight away.
And what was the difference between that?
Over there, he's on the ground. He's also working with his leg to try and work him on the ground.
Mate,
and there's no movement.
You haven't got the same ruling all game.
Okay.
We're going to work with it.
Yeah. You know what the interpretation is? That's it.
He's been a super sub, hadn't he, Shane Dunley? Just look at Cronulla. They're just standing still. And I always found with big men, they need to be moving forward to make an aggressive tackle. When they're caught flat-footed and they've got someone with speed coming at them, it's always difficult to try and get your hands and use your shoulders. And a quick man like Dunley just slicing in between 2 big forwards who are basically planted.
And so Michael Witt having a great afternoon with the boot and some simple conversion attempts. None simpler, though, than this one. It's 36-16, a remarkable scoreline when you consider it was 24-16 at half-time, and Manly faced the prospect of playing the final 40 minutes, a man down, and, of course, with Terry Hill out of the game for good, you would think, with a hamstring problem.
But you would also think, Warren, this game's got plenty of points left in it.
Oh, we're not done with yet by any stretch. And now the Sharks are in front of the kicker.
All offside.
Is there anything else that can go wrong?
Well, that's just a basic error. And you just can't afford to do it. There he is. He's overstepped the mark.
Sam Icemonger out wide on the left-hand side was in front of the kicker. And so Manly again, they might score once more here. That would make it impossible, you would think, for the Sharks to come back. Williamson.
Move. Back.
He'll play it just 15 away. Stevenson from dummy half. Angling on his run towards the post. Dunley, the last try scorer, gets the dummy half again. He gives it to Witt. He ducks under the tackle of Sullivan. Gallen was there, and then Dykes was able to clean up. Witt to Williamson, who saw half a chance. Gallen made a good tackle, though. Last play for Manly. Witt gives it to Monahan. A short ball for Stewart, who was looking for a further tip on. It came away from him. Menzies grubbering. Peachy is there. So is Anthony Watno, who gets his second try of the game. It's all Manly.
Out of it.
You said it was plain as day.
It was out of it. David.
Well, David Peachy having a running argument here with Paul Simpkins will find himself in trouble.
You're not going to chase me and bark at me here. You can go for a rest too. Go.
It's almost a game of soccer here at Brookvale. Now it's 12 versus 11.
Well, it's silly from David Peachy. It's frustration, but as skipper, you can't afford to let your teammates down. You've got to set the example. But Eagles, once again, keeping the ball alive. And then it was just good play. Steve Menzies keeping it on the toe. Peachy misses the football. Watmow's there. He plants it down. I don't know what Peachy was complaining about.
He may have thought perhaps there was a knock-on from the dummy half. And it's a moot point now. Witt. From the 20-metre line, his kicking has been fantastic. It's 42-16, and the Sharks have McGoldrick and Peachy in the sin bin. Manly themselves, of course, have Hopoate sent off at the half-hour mark of the first half for his tackle on Keith Galloway. What a remarkable game here this afternoon at Brookvale.
It is a remarkable game, and I'll toss this up here, Warren, as it's a deep kick-off by Luke Cavell. Would this be the type of game where the opposition coach or both coaches may well be looking to interchange a referee? I think he's handled it quite well, Paul Simpkins. But I'm sure after the game, there'll be a bit to say by both coaches.
Well, from what we've seen of the interchange referee so far in the first 2 weeks, it has worked very well. And as you say, I think Paul Simpkins has handled himself very well here this afternoon. But I'm sure in this situation, you may well say, let's just remove this man from the heat out there and perhaps give somebody else a run. Had there been an interchange in effect here this afternoon? It's a good point you bring up. Here's Heckenberg.
I can hear.
Manly with a 26-point lead. Witt on the last play. Gives it to Monahan, who will kick in behind Dave Simmons, who finds himself at fullback, and a very capable replacement at fullback, of course, remembering he played there a lot with Peachy out of action for a good deal of 2004.
Movement!
And he learnt from his early mistake too, Dave Simons. Getting the ball on the full in the first half, they really tempered him with kicks.
Lomu takes it across the 30.
Movement!
Sullivan comes to Greg Bird, who steps away from Brent Kite. He'll be taken to ground there by Williamson and also Heckenberg. Last tackle for the Sharks, and it's Dykes who will kick off that left boot of his. It bounces up for Brett Stewart. And it's Dykes who leads the chase team down there, although you've got to be careful when Stewart's bringing the ball back at you. And they still have some time for McGoldrick, for him to come back on the field. And then Peachy will follow some minutes after that as Williamson from dummy half comes to Witts. He gets away from Aitken, steps away from Bailey also. Here they come again. outside, he would have been a pretty fair option. They'll play it at the 20. Good run by the 5'8". He took it down a long way. Here's Monahan giving it to Kydal. Sullivan raced up and cleaned him up. And now Simmons has it in a half-hearted run. Now he puts the foot down. Stewart will get to him pretty quickly. And it's play on for the Sharks. I think Simmons was waiting for a whistle.
Well, I think he was, but it was too late. The Sharks are playing on. Sullivan off the Dykes.
It comes to Luke Cavell. Manly for a long way in front of the 10 metres. It's play on for the moment. Here's Sullivan from dummy half. And now there's a penalty. The Seagulls defenders up inside the 10 on the second occasion.
Well, he played the advantage quite well. Yeah. There, Paul Simpkins. Dykes, a quick restart.
Put him up.
Simmons for the line. Will get there and score for this 11-man Sharks outfit up against the 12 of Manly.
And he's hurt himself in the process. He's lying there. He twisted in the tackle to get the ball and force it over the line. Hot conditions here this afternoon. Both teams have been left under strength. Good hit by Mick Sullivan, picking it up. And Simmons just thought maybe the referee was going to call the ball knocked forward. All of a sudden he realised there was an opportunity. Great run by Brett Stewart to pull him down. And there you see, just using his force to get over the line, he twists in the tackle of Stewart and Monahan. He's still down.
So he is still being looked at here by the trainers. Now Monahan is also down here for the Sea Eagles. Simmons finally sitting up. That's a good sign. Doesn't look too good though. What an afternoon here for the Sharks. Randall came across the top at the end as Simmons got the ball down and may have landed on top of him. McGoldrick getting ready to come back onto the field. His 10 minutes is up, so once again it's 12 versus 12, but the injury problems continue here for the Sharks with Simmons now coming from the field. They'll have to find another fullback. Cavell, he misses. Incredible for a kicker of his caliber to miss from such close range. And there is Dave Simmons in a bad way, being held from the field beyond the Manly in goal area.
He doesn't look to be in a good condition, Simmons, so he might have suffered a bout of concussion. He's struggling there with the doctor, Peter Maloof.
Let's go downstairs to Greg Alexander.
Yeah, look, good news on Keith Galloway. He's a little sick and sorry. He was unconscious on the field. Of course, he was on the end of that John Hopoate forehand. He won't be back today, but he's lucid, just feeling a bit ordinary. Terry Hill, he won't take part in the game again. That hamstring that he tore in the warm-up has got the better of him. And David Simmons, just a little bit sick and sorry as well, too. Just walking past me now down on the sideline, and I'll go and find out about his condition, but just a little bit knocked around in the head.
I think your diagnosis is pretty good, Dr. Alexander, as Gallant fends away from Williamson here to bring it up over the Sharks' 40-metre line. We've seen some big comebacks in recent times. Have to be one of the biggest, if not the biggest, this afternoon if the Sharks were to come back from here. But now that it's 12 on 12 again, anything's possible. Bailey. Stopped here by Menzies, just outside the Manly 30-metre line. Last play, Dykes. What can he conjure up here? He runs a long way, gets away from Heckenberg, looking to link up. He does with Gallen, who fires it between the legs. Good idea, bad execution.
100% right there, Warren. Execution. It's let the Sharks down. Dykes looking to run the ball on the 5th tackle. They were expecting to kick the outside men. Gallen, he realised he had to keep the ball alive. Was 5th tackle, threw it between his legs. Unfortunately for him, Covell was a little bit flat, looking for the kick, but Manly have turned it over.
Here's Lomu getting it away to Hilda. And the Sharks gifted a chance here. Menzies could have been penalised for pushing there after the fact in the play. The ball as Vangana works it towards the post. Peachy still off the field for some minutes as Dykes Shows it a couple of times before he almost gets away from the Heckenberg tackle. Hilda at dummy half. Goes to his right-hand side. Sullivan. A pass which even the touch judge couldn't catch.
Well, you talk about execution and panic and showing no composure. It's just summed up in that play. Michael Sullivan just getting the ball first receiver. Manly had numbers, and it makes it easier for a sliding defence to throw the long ball. When the opposition is sliding, you need to go at them and have people running into space. Plenty of options around the football.
Here's Menzies ending up in an awkward position. Greg Bird will be placed on report for this lifting tackle. Menzies is okay. He is straight back to his feet, but there's Bird trying to drive in the tackle, and as Bailey came across the top and tried to swing Menzies to ground, he ended up in an awkward position. Here's Kite. Looking up towards the 40-metre line. Plenty of things to take a look at after this game. About the John Hopoate incident on Keith Galloway will dominate the headlines and the news reports for the next 48 hours. As Dunley plays it. Comes from Witt to Randall. He gives it on to Anthony Watmoe, looking for his third try of the afternoon. Here's Dunley. Going quickly, got in behind them. He's away, looking for the corner. He gave it to Steve Menzies, who scores the 150th try of his career. What a career for Steve Menzies, the man they call the Beaver, 150.
Well, what an effort that is. And what a place to do it at Brookvale Oval, where he scored plenty of tries. Been a wonderful servant to the game of rugby league and the Manly club. Dunley once again, leg speed out of dummy half, getting around Greg Bird, and Menzies always in support. Just watching again, the Sharks defence not moving forward, falling for the dummy, and Steve Menzies. And a great victory for Manly today. Hopoate sent off. Looked as though the Sharks were coming back into the game, but their senior players stood up in the second half.
Well, Peachy is back on the field now, but it's too late for the Sharks. That man, Steve Menzies, the chant of Beaver went up around Brookvale Oval as he made his way back to the northern end here. Witt with another conversion attempt. This one misses to the right-hand side. But it's 46 points to 20 with 11.5 minutes remaining here, and it is suddenly all smiles once again for Manly. An incredible second half we've seen, considering that for the majority of it, they have been down a man. And suddenly with McGoldrick and Peachy both in the bin, they found themselves up a man in 12 versus 11. The Sharks almost found themselves offside again at the kickoff as Kite can't catch that one. Might have come off his head over the dead ball line on the full.
There we see Michael Monaghan on the sideline. He's got cramps. Don't know whether he'll be risked in this game. And of course, if you look forward a week, what a clash it sets up next week. The Manly team taking on the Melbourne Storm, who have been the form team of the competition, playing some outstanding football at the moment. Another big scoreline against the Dragons last night.
They racked up 46. Manly have 46 here this afternoon against the Sharks. As the dropout comes down to Greg Bird, he brings it back towards Kennedy and also Randall. Sullivan waiting. He gives it to Weissmunger. They'll take it back inside the 20. That will be a bumper clash here next week, won't it, at Brookvale? If they can't pack it out then, they never will. Sullivan. Kite launched himself at him. Comes to Hilda, who flicks it back on the inside for Bailey. He gives it to Rhys Williams. And Kennedy wanted to go on with it. He'll be penalised. Vangana taps it. Comes quickly to Dykes. He goes past Icemonger. They give it to Gallen. A delayed pass for Greg Bird, who's an easy target in the end for both Witt and Williamson. Peachy from dummy half. Wasn't much happening for him down the blind side, was there? Hasn't been a great afternoon for the stand-in captain for Brett Camorley as Dykes turns it back on his inside to Lomu.
Movement.
Sullivan will keep it going to the right-hand side here. Dykes showing it, hanging on to it. He'll be stopped a couple of metres away. Still 2 more tackles for the Sharks in this set of 6. Sullivan flips it up to Icemonger, but Heckenberg took him to the mat heavily. Sullivan grubbering, attempting to, off the legs of Kite. He played at it. 6 more tackles here for the Sharks.
I think that's the key for the Manly team here at the moment, and Desi Hasler would be looking for them to continue to do, is to defend well for the next 8 minutes.
Here's Birds and McGoldrick. Kennedy got a hand to it.
Double knock on.
And it will be a knock-on initially against the Sharks.
And there was some desperation shown there by Manly. He's had an enormous game, Ben Kennedy. Been terrific. But they were desperate. They didn't have to be desperate on that occasion. But that's an area that they've worked extremely hard on in the off-season. They showed it last weekend against the Warriors.
We have a blood rule situation for the moment with Sam Icemonger being attended to as we have a look at Kennedy once again there, getting involved in the play. Icemonger
Walking into the scrum.
gets cleaned up. He's happy he's okay. And Paul Simpkins for the moment taking a very close look at him. The referees extra care this weekend, and I'm sure for weekends to come, making sure players who have cuts to the head region are attended to, and the cut is cleaned up after what we saw in Auckland last week. Kennedy comes from the field. He may have a minor leg problem, but he'll get a big hand in his first appearance as a Seagull here at Brookvale from the Brookie faithful. They like what they've seen this afternoon.
Movement.
Dunley playing it for Witt. Kite taking it up towards the halfway line. The Seagulls, of course, we've mentioned they play the Storm here next Sunday. You'll see that game live on Fox Sports on NRL Sundays. The kick is too big out on the full, and the Sharks will bring it back up towards the halfway line. Witt, his reaction tells you all you need to know about the kick. The Sharks next week will take on the Eels at Parramatta Stadium. They will get Camorley back. Nutley, though, will be missing the second week of his suspension, so be interesting to see how that one shapes up.
Yeah, they're also a chance of getting Jason Stevens back next weekend. Gives them a bit of size in the middle of the park, Stevens.
Gallen playing it for Sullivan, who turns it back on the inside for Mayava.
Movement.
Dykes again, that first receiver back on the inside for Hilda. Kite was sweating on him, so was Watmo. Sullivan again, comes to Peachy, chiming in, he shows it to Bird. Gallen does well, gets in behind them, flips it out the back. Cavell tried to knock it forward, but I think the initial pass was forward from Gallen, and that's exactly what Paul Simpkins rules.
I think this game really shows the importance of the Sharks having a combination in the 7 and 6 this year. Last week, when Camorley and Dykes played together, there was a number of options, and Camorley didn't have to take it upon himself not to run the football. If he ran the football, he knew on the next play that it was going to be something organised. But today, when Dykes has been caught or he's out of the play,
seconds bound, ball in.
the Sharks, they look very pedestrian with the footy. And you need your halves to be working in tandem with one another.
Play it.
If one's out of play, the other one takes over.
Randall it is. And we'll play it here. Outside the Manly 20. Dunley. Dummy half on us for the majority of this second half. Kite takes it forward, flops it out the back. Dunley picks it up from Witt. It comes to Heckenberg, then Harris, who carries it in one arm. A very impressive 2004 season did Sam Harris. Dangerous ball runner and offloader as well. Here's Luluwai. Good run from the front rower. He got it back almost to the halfway line. Dunley from dummy half. Comes down the short side to Williamson, who will kick. Peachy going back for it, will pick it up at his own goal line. And the chase was a good one. It was Dunley who stops him at his own 10-metre line.
Good work by Shane Dunley. He's added something to this team since he's been on the field. Really sharp out of dummy half.
Already held.
He scoots from there. He doesn't mind going up the short side or a blind side. Peachy takes the quick tap. Oh, good fend on Kylie Lulawai.
He'll enjoy that. Lulawai turned around to see the hand of Peachy in his face. Here's Dykes as it comes to Bailey. One-on-one with Menzies. He stepped away from him, got it back to Weissmunger. He was cut down in a nice tackle by Chad Randall. Dykes from dummy half. Has tried very hard here this afternoon. Links up with Vungana here. They're just outside the 20. It's too late for them, but they can finish perhaps with at least one more try. Here's Sullivan chipping in behind them, and it will be too big. He thought he might have caught them out, but Stewart had it covered nonetheless.
Yeah, when they've been under pressure this afternoon, the Sharks, they've reverted back to individual play rather than team play. Everyone wanting to do their bit, but not working together. And you just can't afford to do that. The individual brilliance will come after you've sustained pressure and you've worked well as a team.
Michael Monaghan on the sidelines, ready to make the final interchange for Manly as Heckenberg works it forward. He's picked up a lot of metres this afternoon. He's placed in the starting 13 with Jason King out of action with that sternum problem. Here is Heckenberg again. Gives it to Kite. Heckenberg, or rather, Gallen was there. He might have knocked it down, but no resumption of the tackle counter. Will continue on. Witt looking to kick and almost took off the head of Luke Cavell in doing so. He found the line. Picked up around about 15 metres or so. And a bit of a chat there between Stewart and McGoldrick. It has been one of those afternoons. It's been heated at times. And despite Manly getting the points here, it's hard to avoid the fact that this game will be remembered for the incident between Hopoate and Galloway. Galloway stretched from the field. And on the advice of the video referee, Chris Ward, Hopoate sent from it.
One movement. Hold. Go.
Gallen will play it to Peachy. Here's Hilda to Williams. It comes to Peachy. He shows it to Icemonger, gives it to him eventually. He'll play it at the halfway line. Sullivan waiting for it. Comes to Dykes, back on the inside for Peachy.
Movement.
Picked off in a tackle by Lulawai, who might have enjoyed that himself, having been fended off by Peachy not that long ago. Here's Vungana coming midfield, feigning to kick and pops it out the back here to Sullivan. He wheels around, comes to Monaghan, he throws a wild pass over the top. McGoldrick has it knocked loose by Luke Williamson. It was play on and Stevenson has it. Nice work by the forward, Williamson.
It was a funny bit of play. Williamson, the Sharks looking to keep the ball alive. Williamson just knocked it out of his hand. Play on, said the referee. Do you think they can get another one? Get their score to 50. That's what they'll be after.
Three, stand up.
Give this crowd something good to go home with, other than the victory. Another 4-pointer.
Four, movement.
Dunley. And dart across the halfway line. He gives it to Monaghan. Here's Harris now. Puts a little grubber in for Stevenson, who was clean bowled. It missed off and missed leg. Went straight through middle.
Well, the bat wasn't near the pad, was it? Straight through. There was a try there. If he had picked it up and was able to turn the ball back onto Williamson. Both teams are out on their feet. A couple of the stars for Manly. Watmow, Kennedy, Michael Witt having a rest.
Ball in.
As there was last week, there'll be plenty of ice needed in both dressing rooms after this one.
Feet back. Seconds in. Ball in. Out.
Adam Dykes from the scrum win, gives it to Peachy. Sharks last chance with the ball as Gallen keeps it alive. It comes back to the fullback who steps in traffic. In the end, he was cleaned up by Dunley and also Harris. And now Dunley and Peachy get to it.
Get out of his face.
Well, Peach resenting something in the tackle. He got the penalty and then was picked up in an awkward fashion by Dunley, and now it's on. This game will end with a fight between Peachy and Dunley. And Dunley may also have perhaps a dangerous throat problem here as well for the tackle on Peachy. There was no difference between that one and the tackle that found Greg Bird placed on report.
It'll be interesting to see whether the video referee comes involved in this. Peachy running the football, and then he is picked up past the horizontal. Peachy lashes out, and then Dunley throws the first punch. Peachy tries to retaliate.
There you go.
And both teams become involved, grabbing one another out of the play. The game's over, boys.
Okay. All right, what do we got? Come out. 15's out. Dave.
Well, he's penalised 15. He's then got involved in not getting the 10 metres off that next penalty.
Yep.
Okay, he's also then up into David Peachy in a dangerous manner. David Peachy's then thrown the first punch. Okay,
Same thing. Hey, first penalty was against you. The second one you never retired the 10 for a start. Then we got the lifting tackle, so that's going on report, okay? The blue, keep it out. We've got a minute to go.
Let's go.
It's on report for 15. Lifting.
Well, the Sharks will get one last play here. Dykes will find the line with time up here at Brookvale. Manly will get the points. There is so much to talk about coming out of this game. Sullivan puts a kick in. Donald will be happy to take the tackle, and that'll do us this afternoon. The Sea Eagles make it 2 from 2 to begin in 2005. They've beaten the Sharks 46 points to 20.
It's been a good performance by the Sea Eagles. They did it tough there when Hopoate was sent from the field, but they dug in. Their leaders were strong. The frustration showed on the Sharks players. And Manly, it sets up a great clash next weekend against the Melbourne Storm.
Well, you mentioned, of course, the send-off of John Hopoate. David Peachy was involved in a fracas towards the end of the game. But this moment, at the half-hour mark of the first half, he flashed through the screen. Hopoate, with a forearm or elbow, collected Keith Galloway and was sent from the field. And his career in the NRL hangs in the balance when he faces the judiciary on Wednesday nights. We will have that news live, of course, on NRL on Fox on Wednesday night. Galloway was taken from the field, and here is the full-time summary. Monahan scored 3, the captain. Watmo bagged a double. Stewart, Dunley and Menzies also scored, notching his 150th try. Witt kicked 7 from 8. For the Sharks, it was Aitken, Cavell, Vangana and Simmons who scored. Cavell kicked 2 from 4. Don't forget, there is still more rugby league action to come your way this afternoon. The Eagles players congratulate themselves, but we will see from 6 o'clock Eastern Daylight Savings Time, the Rabbitohs up against the Eels from Aussie Stadium. That one on Fox Sports 2. Make sure you join us for that. And then following that game, of course, we'll take you to Penrith Football Stadium as the Panthers take on the Roosters, the grand finalists from 2003, meeting again, that one from 7:30 p.m, once again Eastern Daylight Savings Time. And don't forget about NRL Scoreboard tomorrow nights, 8:30 p.m, Monday nights. We'll take you through everything that happened in this game, and won't there be some points to talk about? That's NRL Scoreboard live tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. on Fox Sports 1. Thank you for joining us here this afternoon. On behalf of Greg Alexander and Laurie Daly, I'm Warren Smith. Until we see you next time, it is goodbye from Brookvale Oval.